guys, sorry I've been gone for so long. Basically, I almost died. I know this sounds like a joke or ridiculous statement, but I'm not joking, and I'm going to explain everything in this video. A disclaimer beforehand, this is going to be very personal and the most vulnerable I've ever been on this channel. So if you're not in the mood, I don't really care about me, and only really watch this channel for the My Singing Monsters, this ain't the one. Anyways, back to why I almost died. The story starts in Ireland. Well, I was working really hard on my channel to squeeze out at least one video a week on my MacBook. And during this time, I was really unsure if I was going to pass my plumbing diploma because my teacher left me in the dark with my results. And my teacher didn't let me know if I had to come back in for my retakes. And this weird thing kept happening to me where I kept getting these left-sided chest pains with no explanation. And I kept thinking there was something wrong with my heart. But all the doctors were like, no, you're just anxious. It's all in your head. And I took their word for it because I didn't want to believe there was anything wrong with my heart as well. And all my family were just saying the same stuff as well. Like, you're just overthinking it, you're anxious. So I just took their advice. Anyways, one morning while my family went out for a day trip while I was left home alone, I decided I should go for a run because these chest pains worried me so much I was scared to exercise. And I thought maybe if I brute force my way into exercising and nothing happens, then I have nothing to worry about. So then I left my house, walked down the road to get ready for my run. So then I was running, and when I say running, I mean more like a light jog. And I ran for about 5 minutes, checked my heart rate, felt that I was stupidly high, and then I just couldn't control my breathing, and I started going dizzy. And then all I could do from there was slowly walk home. And I thought every step, that is it, I'm dying here. And this is extra scary because remember, my family's completely out. I was on a random road in Ireland, in the middle of nowhere, and worst case scenario, if I did have to call the ambulance, I didn't have any service, and they would take about an hour to get there. I don't know why, but that was one of the most scariest moments of my life. Luckily, I made it home, and I lied down till my heart rate was stable again. However, from this point on, I always had this feeling I wasn't getting enough oxygen, and the chest pains just got worse and more common. And to top it off, a day later, while I had just been through all that and I was still scared to move too much, my channel got hacked, and I basically mentally and physically shut down as I was overloaded from stress from my school, my health, and my channel being hacked. And unfortunately with this hack, we lost Mazz 2, which had like 30,000 subscribers or something. Prayers in the chat for Mazz 2, guys. We're gonna miss you. And worst thing, even if I did try to get my channel back, I was in Ireland, so Google didn't recognize my IP, so they thought I was the hacker. It was just horrible timing. Anyways, these chest pains and shortness of breath lingered for months. And even when I got back to the UK, I was still too scared to move. Literally, I was too worried to get up to go to the toilet because I thought I would have a heart attack. Walking outside for 5 minutes was incredibly mentally challenging and took a lot of bravery. And I kept having these severe panic attacks out of nowhere, not even relating to my heart. I would just have a panic attack there with no explanation. It was this thought I was gonna die over and over and over again. So the only way I was able to like manage with this was lying in bed. So I just spent a lot of my days lying in bed. And I went to the doctors multiple times and they just kept telling me the same thing. You're anxious, it's all in your head, and there's nothing wrong with you. But I knew the chest pains were real. That was something I was certain of. There was definitely chest pains there. But they just kept making me feel like I was crazy. So imagine me barely leaving the house as I was too worried about having a heart attack, and I was told there was nothing wrong with me. And my mum, I can't thank her enough, she saved my life. Anyways, we'll go get into that. She had to be like my personal caretaker. And the amount of guilt I felt putting my mum through all of this, for it not even to be confirmed. Anyways, one day, I got this raging fever. Bruh. Well, I've had fevers before. I've had them bad as well. But when I say the worst fever I've ever had, this is bad. And with this fever, I had to go to the toilet about 20 to 30 times in that night. And when I did get back from the toilet to my bed to try and sleep, I could not stop shivering. Like I was getting electrocuted. And if I turned to my side a bit too far, or like just the slightest bit of movement, I would just vomit again. And I couldn't drink any water as well because anything I just drank, I would vomit it up again. So I just suffered that whole night with no sleep. And that next morning, my mum came into my room to check my heart rate as I was too tired and out of it to do anything myself. And if I moved, I would probably just vomit or shit again. And she checked it and it was 160. And if you didn't know, 160 as a heart rate while lying down is kind of a cause for alarm. Anyways, she got so worried to the point where she called the ambulance. And there were 2 reasons for this. 1, I couldn't get to the hospital normally as I was probably shitting myself on the way there. And 2, we have been worrying about my heart rate for 3 months now, so this was the final straw. Anyways, the paramedics came into my house. I'm lying on the mattress on the floor, barely conscious, and they done all their checks to conclude it's just a bit of diarrhea and vomiting. And they once again said that my heart rate was because I was anxious. And I'm telling you this, I was too out of it to be anxious about anything. But my mum was luckily persistent I go to the hospital. Anyways, I got in that ambulance. They put me in an IV drip as I couldn't swallow any tablets since I couldn't drink water in the first place. And to show how unanxious I am, I have a serious fear of needles. Like I will literally bug out if I see a needle on my screen or something. And anybody with a phobia will understand how much that phobia can stress them out and worry them. But in this situation, I just took it. Like I was just like, So we make it to the hospital. I'm still vomiting and shitting every 5 minutes or so. Anyways, the doctors went up to my mum and said, it's stupid to bring a boy with just some diarrhea and vomiting into the hospital. I said, it's a danger to the staff and a waste of our time. And they pointed to the fact that my temperature's already going down. And I'm like, no shit. They put me on a paracetamol drip, which temporarily lowers temperature. So I'm there in the hospital bed for about 3 hours, feeling like shit because I was horribly ill, but also feeling like shit because I felt like I was wasting these doctors and nurses' time. They done a few blood tests on me. The results came back and they told my mum, get him out of here in the next 15 minutes. He looks good. And as my mum was a nurse, she looked through the papers herself and pointed to the CRP and saw that it was 150. Which, if you didn't know, 150 CRP is a level of infection of a severe or deadly bacterial infection. And the doctor looked at it again and was like, I guess it is a bit high. And won't you know it, 5 minutes later, I was uncontrollably shaking like this. I was like, and my fingers were turning blue. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had something called sepsis. And basically, sepsis is a life-threatening medical emergency where the body's immune system overreacts to an infection, causing widespread inflammation, tissue damage, and potential organ failure. The symptoms are slurred speech or confusion. And I thought that was just because I had no sleep. Like, that just happens when you're tired. Extreme shivering and muscle pain. Yes. No passing urine throughout the day. And I thought that was because I didn't get the chance to because I kept shitting or vomiting whenever I was in the toilet. Severe breathlessness, and it feels like you might die. And they told me that was just because I was anxious. And skin molted or bluish and very pale. And when that happens, that means you're going into sepsis. And when sepsis kicks in, you only have a matter of minutes to live. And let me just leave you with that thought for a second. I had minutes to live. I didn't know what sepsis was at the time. I didn't know if I was dying then, but like still, it is crazy to think about. So anyways, they actually did start to take me seriously and started panicking. I had this vague memory of closing my eyes and waking up to 2 doctors on each side of my arm trying to stick antibiotics in me, and there was just this pool of blood everywhere because they were rushing and kept missing. To be fair to them, my blood pressure was so low that they couldn't even find my veins. But luckily, they got there just in time. I could finally stop shivering and try and sleep. And eventually I had to get put in another part of the hospital and kept getting antibiotics in my arm for the next 4 days. But those days in the hospital were rough, trust me. I still really couldn't properly get sleep because I still had to often get up to shit or vomit. And I had 2 IV drips in my arm, so I couldn't really move much. Like I had to lie and sleep like this. And I couldn't eat or drink anything as I would just throw it up. And I ended up shitting so much that my poo turned green. I didn't even know that could happen, but it apparently does. The only thing is, the doctors still couldn't find out why I got this ill or why I was still having these chest pains. So me and my mum had to figure it out ourselves. And I apparently had a Staph aureus infection in my toe, which probably was brewing up inside of me for ages. And then I had food poisoning, which probably was the thing that kicked it off. And my chest pains turned out to actually be something, thank you, I was not crazy, something called pericarditis, which comes from severe infection. And honestly, isn't the worst thing to hear after hearing that I just had sepsis. And eventually, I made it home, but nurses still had to come round once a day to inject more antibiotics in me. And after it was all over, I was even more mentally messed up than before. Mainly because I can't really trust doctors anymore, as I knew there was something hurting in my chest, and they just kept listing it off as anxiety. And I knew I wasn't normally an anxious person, so that really pissed me off. And the fact they were trying to take me out the hospital about 15 minutes before I was dying, it's just stupid. So I really had to mentally heal myself, which took a couple months by itself, as I was still scared to go outside in case of dying in some way. And the worst part about all this, I then just had my birthday and I turned 18. And how I used to picture myself when I was 18 was be self-sufficient, moved out, have a good time with my friends, and I just missed all of that. And what I actually was being taken care of 24/7 by my mum. I got to thank her again because she was literally my guardian angel. Unable to leave the house. I haven't talked to my friends in months, and this whole period took about 6 months out of my youth, which was definitely just the cherry on top of all of this. Honestly, this experience still has deep lingering effects on me, but I am doing a lot better now. You can see by like how I'm moving. I leave the house basically daily and don't worry about it at all. I am still too scared to go for a run, but I can do push-ups, pull-ups, and stretches. And this whole experience definitely did switch something in me in the way where I care a lot less what people think about me. Because to be honest, I'm going to be incredibly open here, and it's very embarrassing me saying this. I have cared a lot about what people think about me and my channel. Even though consciously I know I really shouldn't care and I'm bound to get hate, but there was still this like strong need for attention and validation that I just couldn't get rid of. And that's probably why I've gotten this far and this successful, because I always had this mindset, oh, look at me, I'm more interesting, look at me now. And I'll tell you, oh my god, I'll tell you this horrible addiction that I had where I used to love reading comments about me, not on YouTube because the YouTube comments are either really nice or brain dead. I used to go to places like Reddit, Discord, Twitter, and search my name and see if anyone said anything about me. And I didn't care if it was someone saying something bad or something good about me. I just got the kick from the idea someone's talking about me. It's a bit sad that I needed to almost die to realize none of it actually matters. And big announcement, I finally give up. Suck it up to My Singing Monsters and the My Singing Monsters community, as they just don't give a shit about me. Because imagine if I did die. There would probably be a few people in the community saying, oh, good riddance. I didn't like him anyways. His videos were brain rot. And My Singing Monsters would be doing the same thing that they've been doing to me for years, which is acting like I don't exist. I've been honestly tried to be polite, not cause drama, play it safe, in the hopes I'll get unbanned one day. I'm just finally done with it. I'm sick of it. So, what's happening from here on out? I've got good news. Now that I'm not dying, I'm gonna start making more videos. Yay! I'm sorry to tell you this. The honest truth is, in 97% of my videos, the humor is not mine or me at all. The jokes I kind of make in my videos is humor I think you guys would laugh at or make a comment about. And I'll tell you, I would never laugh or enjoy one of my videos. But saying this, if people don't like me being my true self, I will just switch back. I do need my money at the end of the day. Anyways, it's been very odd talking this personally to a camera, and I would like to know if you guys appreciated it, me being more real and open. And I guess that's all really. Like and subscribe, join the Discord, follow my Twitter, and bam!